And so one of the biggest projects that's been really, really interesting that we did was some wind tunnel testing on sliding glass doors and windows and facade elements. And so we actually, so this is, we were requested to do this. And so what we ended up doing is we actually we bought sliding glass windows and doors and put them into a frame. And we tested them full scale at the Wall of Wind at Florida International University. If you haven't looked that up, Google that after we get off the call and look up Wall of Wind. And it's this massive open wind tunnel in Miami. And we were able to test these windows and doors under like dynamic loads, from a wind tunnel up to like 150 miles per hour, which is like nearly a Category 5 storm. It's sustained, so just hitting it, which is extremely strong and extremely catastrophic sort of storm. Like it's just not. It's that sort of storm would be horribly damaging to any place that got hit. For instance, Dorian last year was a Category 5 storm and horribly catastrophic to the Bahamas. Thankfully, stayed off of the coast of Florida and never hit. So that was one of the big things, and so that involved. That was over about a year and a half ago now. That involved about a team of 15 to 20 WJE people. Working at we actually constructed the specimens at the lab in Chicago. So we have our own structures lab in Chicago area, and we shipped them down to the lab here at Florida International University. And we then we installed the windows and doors into the specimens that we bought from here in Florida. As well, actually, one other thing we did was we wanted to understand the behavior of some older windows and doors. And so what we did was actually find old profiles. So like every window and door is typically down here is out of extruded aluminum. You can have other materials, but it's really common to use extruded aluminum. And so we had aluminum extrusions actually made in China, shipped to the US, where we fabricated the window that they no longer make. Typically, most of the windows and doors down here in Florida are made in South America. So they'll glaze them or fabricate them here, but all the extrusions are made in South America. So in Colombia or whatnot are some of the bigger extruders of the aluminum. And so, right, and so we ran these tests. It was a really, really interesting project. I was the manager of that project. It was like doing a couple PhDs for people in 3 months. It was so fast. It's very different than the academic world where research can take a lot of time. Our client needed an answer quickly. And so we had to get that answer very quickly. The other thing we did was test some glass handrails, right? So on balconies and stuff, people like to put glass instead of steel guardrails. And so this building had that we were trying to mimic a building that had that. And the interesting thing that came from that is that we actually, just due to time constraints, we used another wind tunnel up in Canada. And so we all flew up to just outside of Toronto, used their wind tunnel and looked at the behavior of these guardrails. And that was more interesting because the windows, I have to tell you, even under 150 mile per hour load, they don't move very much. But the sliding glass, the handrails, when it's 150 miles per hour applied to these things, it is quite scary looking. And so that is one of the biggest, most interesting projects that we've worked on. And so I did that. Probably that was a 6 or 8 month project that I did pretty much when I moved to Florida, to be honest.